So you have a meeting with a financial planner. Congratulations. That's a big step. Now what?
Welcome to another episode of Millstone River Live, a podcast brought to you by Millstone River Wealth Management.
Preparing for your first meeting with a financial planner is a big step, and it's no secret that lots of people feel helpless about things like saving for retirement or sending a child to college. We think having a solid plan helps to create a more comfortable lifestyle. It leaves you prepared for the things that you need to do and to carry out the most important goals in life. And that is the goal for any interaction with your financial planner. So Adam, let's talk a little bit about preparing for that first meeting. But before we do, let us know, what is a financial planner?
Sure, Matt. Financial planner is an investment professional that partners with you over the long haul and works with you to meet your financial goals. In other words, they're your go-to experts about how to make your money grow so that you're able to achieve your dreams. It's important because it can be a big confidence boost. A recent retirement study shows that those that get help from a financial planner can be nearly twice as confident about being able to reach their goals as those that don't or work on their own. So now that you've made a decision to schedule your first appointment, Matt, what are some things you can do before you have that first meeting?
Yeah, I think it's important to consider this as sort of pre-work before you go in for that first meeting. A couple things I would recommend. One, if you're married, I think it's important that two spouses sit down and have a discussion together first.
I strongly second that.
Yeah, don't go into a third person expecting them to be the arbiter of a not so agreeable couple on what their goals are. And it doesn't mean people fight or argue necessarily, although we've seen that. What I think it is more about is making sure you're on the same page, making sure you have the same things in mind that you want to accomplish. Dreaming together, if you will, about what you want your future to look like, I think is more important than anything else in terms of creating shared goals. And then when you go in and sit down with financial planners, it makes it a lot easier for everybody, yourself included, to figure out the right direction. If you're not married, I think it's good to kind of bounce this off of someone else. Maybe you have someone in your life that's important to you, accountability partner of some sort, someone that you trust, someone who knows you as well as you might know them. And talking about future dreams with that person, asking for their feedback, I think that's a good thing to do. So just because you don't have a spouse to do that with doesn't mean it's not a good step to take. It almost forces you to think through these goals in greater detail, to come up with more of an outline of the things that you want to communicate with that financial planner. So questions like, when do I want to retire? Do I want to retire? What does my retirement look like? Do I want to work in retirement? How do I want to pay for kids' college, if that's an important goal for you? Who my beneficiary should be? And there's many more, but that's a good start. So once you've kind of taken that pre-work step in preparation, what do you think you should gather together and bring to that meeting?
That's a great question. We get that a lot, actually. It can be challenging to reach your financial planning goals if we don't know where the starting line is or what hurdles you'll need to clear to get to the finish line. So that's why it can be helpful to bring some information to the first meeting. Some of the documents that Matt and I will sometimes suggest is 401k and other investment planning statements, mortgage and other debt statements, student loans, credit cards, your most recent tax return, pay stubs, which can give us a clue into the benefits being offered at work. And then the one that we get the most resistance from, if you don't already have it, a monthly budget. We recognize that, it's a task, and we don't always like to look at what our spending is, but a budget can give someone like Matt or myself an accurate insight into how much you earn, spend, and then most importantly, it can tell us what your capacity to save is for every month. So if it's something that you've done, we'd love to see it. If not, it's something that we'll work with you on. So Matt, what should we expect from what that first meeting might look like?
Yeah, I think that's an important, sort of step to take along the way, which is setting expectations. So that first meeting, I think it's important to think about it in terms of what am I going to accomplish here? This person potentially is going to be joining our family team, and having an interview with them to make sure that they'd make a good addition, well, that's important. And to that point, I think I would go into it with the expectation that the conversation should not be one direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it should be a two-way conversation. I think it's an opportunity for a person to get to know this potential member of the family team, and it's also an opportunity for the financial planner to get to know the client a little bit. What's important to them, what motivates them, and how might we be able to be of best help, if we can be of help at all. So I think having those expectations a little bit more crystallized before you go in for that meeting will make a better meeting just by itself. But while you're doing that, you might come up with some questions. Maybe you struggle coming up with questions. Could go either way. So Adam, what do you think some questions somebody might want to jot down to come prepared to ask at that first meeting might be?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we have devoted time to make sure we're available to answer your questions. And if you're unsure what to ask, maybe I thought I'd share some that we get fairly frequently that we think leads to good conversation. One is sometimes just the services that we provide, or what's the capacity in which we're able to work with someone. Is it something that is ongoing, or at times there's a very specific issue that someone might just be looking for guidance on? People ask about our investment philosophy. We talk a lot about a communication schedule that we might have. We will sometimes get questions about, how will we measure success in terms of, either near-term or long-term goals. And then we also get questions about what are the different ways in which we can get paid. Basically, anything that is on your mind from our perspective is fair game for you to ask us during that first meeting. And Matt, what are some questions maybe they might be prepared to answer from us?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to sort of wrap up this topic, which is kind of getting to that first meeting with a new financial planner. So I think it'd be easy to sum up by saying goals. You should be somewhat prepared to talk about goals. It doesn't mean you have everything kind of delineated and locked down as tightly as possible. It just means that you should be able to have a conversation about things that are important to you. What do you want to achieve in your life? And, what does life look like for you down the road? What happens if you don't achieve these things? How important are these things that you're even talking about? And I think being able to explain the ways that you want to live your life are going to be important, because obviously money is how you pay for that stuff. Lack of money is how you don't get to pay for that stuff. And so understanding what it is that you want, what's most important to you. And again, I would say, like I said a few moments ago, if you're married, making sure that the two partners in that couple are at least somewhat aligned on the things that they consider to be most important. So what happens after you have that meeting could take any number of possible directions, but I think you should go into it thinking this will be a long-term relationship, successful for everyone involved, potentially lasting many years or even decades, and that you want to make sure that you go into it with a like-minded individual who's going to be an important addition to the team, somebody for support, accountability, bringing new ideas, and helping you carry out the things that are most important. I thank you for listening, and we hope that you found this episode of Millstone River Live to be helpful.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Millstone River Live. feel free to share it with someone you think might benefit. Millstone River Wealth Management is an independent wealth management firm based in New Jersey. We form a supportive partnership with our clients and help with financial education and planning. We welcome your feedback. Send comments or questions to podcast@millstone-river.com. More information about our firm can be found online at millstone-river.com. Thanks for listening.